Hello there, lovely. Good morning and welcome to Camnet Breakfast Show, a show where we urge you to rise and thrive. You, our dear viewers, from wherever you are watching us from. We are live on GoTV as well as DSTV, and also we are live on our Facebook page, Camnet TV. Search for the page, like it, and be sure to leave a comment. My name is Joe Smarter, and shortly I'll be joined by my colleague Nelson Zulu. Now, like they say, your health is your wealth. But before we even get to there, yesterday was Mother's Day, and let me take this opportunity to wish all the mothers out there a happy belated Mother's Day. You are special. We see you and we do appreciate you. We go on our health corner segment. We'll be right back on the other side.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. My name is Dr. Nakuyana Mufaya. So this week we are going to talk about a very common diarrheal disease. It's a condition that is very common amongst us. It's more of an endemic amongst in our communities. So we'll talk about typhoid fever. So I'm sure most of you have heard about typhoid fever. You probably have gone to the hospital and you've been told that you have typhoid. So this week we want to understand exactly what is typhoid and also how it comes about and some of the signs and symptoms of a person or a patient that has typhoid. And we also want to know how is it diagnosed in the hospital and how can you prevent yourself from getting this condition of typhoid. So today we'll discuss what is typhoid. Typhoid is a diarrheal disease, as we have mentioned. It's caused by a bacteria, and this bacteria is called Salmonella. Now, Salmonella, there are two types. Most of them that cause typhoid are two major types. There's the Salmonella typhi and the Salmonella paratyphi. So these two bacteria are the ones that cause typhoid. And usually it's gotten from the fecal oral route. By that I mean somebody has to ingest it from their food. So it's shed through the feces, and if someone has not washed their hands and they have touched food and then they ingest that food that is contaminated, then they would get the bacteria, which will attack the immune cells in the intestines. So it attacks the lining of the intestines, and in the lining of the intestines we find some immune cells. So those cells will be attacked, and eventually they will start, the bacteria will make the immune cells to start producing more of the bacteria itself. So as the bacteria multiplies, that is how come you start getting these symptoms of being sick. So usually it takes about 7 to 14 days before you can start having any symptoms. We call that period the incubation period. So it's a period where the body is still producing more of the bacteria and it's still infecting your body until at a time when it starts manifesting in different ways and you start having symptoms of typhoid. So this typhoid can, as we have said, it can cause damage to the intestines. And sometimes the damage can be so severe such that it can cause perforation. So by perforation, we are talking about causing a leakage in the intestine. So your intestines can have end up having a hole or a perforation, and some fluids from the intestines can start leaking into the abdomen, the overall abdomen. So that's one of the complications of this typhoid. So it's important that we know exactly how it comes about, and we know how we can prevent it, and also know the symptoms, so that once you see yourself having these symptoms, or know somebody who is having these symptoms, then you quickly rush them to the hospital where they can get treatment. So make sure you watch the other episodes this week, where we'll talk more about typhoid. I hope you have learned something today. If you want to learn more about other topics, make sure you watch my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Nakubyanamfire, on YouTube and also on Facebook. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubyanamfire. I'll see you next time. Stay blessed and stay healthy.
Okay, so there you have it. That's our resident doctor there giving us an update on eye health from the health corner. But for now, since your money matters as well, we get into the money markets. We see the exchange rates. And Nelson takes us to Nelson.
The United States dollar is buying at 27.06 Ingwe and selling at 27.59 Ingwe. The euro is buying at 29.17 Ingwe and selling at 29.74 Ingwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 33.90 Ingwe and selling at 34.57 Ingwe. The South African Rand is buying at 1.47 Ingwe and selling at 1.50 Ingwe. The update is exactly at 07:55 as of this morning, the 13th of May 2024, and obviously March talk is going to be based on the United States dollar affair with regards to how the kwacha is also performing with this major convertible currency, because we know most of the business transactions are done in dollar, and we are likely to also get an update from the Bank of Zambia as of this week, as we get to comments this week, precisely on Wednesday, as the Bank of Zambia is supposed to address on the MPC, and we're likely to also see some certain interventions being made to ensure that the kwacha continue or maybe stabilizes for a while, because these fluctuations have actually been noticed from time to time, and questions have been asked whether or not we are doing much to ensure that the country's production vis-a-vis the economy is seen in terms of growth. But we've seen assurances also being laid on the table from those that are in the wheels of power in terms of how things are supposed to get to materialize. Questions, these are some of the issues that have output. Right, Joe?
Okay, it doesn't look too good. Nelson, we don't want to be prophets of doom. However, according to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, the projected growth to be 2.3% for Zambia for 2024. It's not a good thing, Nelson.
And that's against the projection that was made in the 2024 budget. And obviously we'll see what that means, because even as we get to see Parliament, the next session of Parliament come to fruition, one thing also that has to be put into consideration is that Ministry of Finance is supposed to present the realigned budget, simply because of the drought situation that we had, and we've seen that the country's budget being realigned, so to ensure that we get to respond to the drought crisis. And a lot of issues also have come on board, especially issues relating to electricity. Joe, if you go in the field, if you go outside there in these residential areas and get to ask these questions, one of the things that will really pop out and remain as a poignant issue that almost everyone is going to talk about is the fact that electricity is now a challenge, and doing business has become more of a difficulty, because even the power utility is not following the schedule that has been put out there. Those are some of the allegations that have been made.
I don't know about you. I left home. There was no power. Luckily, I had ironed my shirt yesterday, so I was lucky in that regard. However, as we continue, Honorable Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane, Minister of Finance, has issued a stern warning, and he says once the audit is completed, we will request the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants and other professional bodies to sanction all erring officials at the alleged abuse of CDF resources. That's from Finance Minister Dr. Honorable Stumbeko Msokotwane. Now he says, I take great exception to the alleged abuse of CDF funds in Kalabo. Nelson, you are familiar with his story.
Well, for me, we are wait to see. I know there's all the special audit that is conducted when we talk about the Constituency Development Fund, and we are wait in terms of the publication of how these funds have been utilized. And for some time also we've seen that the stakeholders have given their perspective, especially when it comes to the utilization of CDF. And this comes at the backdrop that you find that CDF in some communities or some constituencies, it is working, but in some areas it is not working. And then you hear that government dispersed the funds at a same particular time or same period. But why is it that the other constituency is developed, the other one is underdeveloped? I think these are some of the critical points that will have to be looked at. And Kalabo constituency, I must believe the area member of parliament must be from the current ruling administration, that is the UPND, and basically we will see what recourse is going to be taken if at all it is found in the erring side of the law, because those are funds that are meant to ensure that
Public funds.
Yes, those are public funds. If anything, it is taxpayers' money.
Exactly.
That has to be put to good
It is
use.
our money.
But we're talking about electricity. I know our guest is about to join us this morning. An energy expert, Engineer Boniface Zulu, has urged ZESCO Limited to find lasting solutions to the current power deficit the country is facing.
But look, that's where I have a problem. I have a concern. Because look, last time we had a well-learned engineer here in the names of Dr.
Johnston Chikwanda.
Johnston Chikwanda here. He put it plainly. We are poor at implementation stage or at implementing our policies. A research paper was done. Alternative sources of energy were suggested. Yes, suggested to the then government at that particular time. So it means that paper is there gathering dust. People do not want to look at it. So even when the good engineer there, when he brings out those concerns, the research paper is already there. Recommendations have already been made. It's the lawmakers, the implementers, that do not want to look at this paper and obviously begin to implement it. Technocrats are there. Technocrats do give advice, but we still continue seeing lapses in the way electricity is generated and distributed to different households, and also how it's managed. We saw a tariff hike which led to the board chairperson for the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, Dr. Reynolds Wawa, being fired.
And he's the Director General, Yohani Mukalu.
Being sent on forced leave.
Exactly.
So all these things, matters of electricity, again, to an extent, they are political. And you know that the power utility company has been accused in the past, I don't know about now, but in the past, that it has always been a cash cow for politicians and their associates. So it's a bit political. It's a bit political, but in as much as we play our politics, we shouldn't allow the majority Zambians to suffer on the expense of playing politics. Nelson.
Cash cow or not, let's get to look at this story from energy expert engineer Boniface Zulu. Was urged ZESCO Limited to find lasting solutions to the current power deficit the country is facing. It says the importation of power is just a measure meant to cushion and alleviate the impacts of the current deficit on consumers, given the low water levels in the reservoirs induced by the drought, and as such there is need to have lasting measures put in place. He adds that although the move might compromise the country's sovereignty of the energy sector, it is important to look at lasting solutions that are going to ensure that such issues are actually alleviated. Then another interesting story also is from Mungu, where we've seen residents have expressed their gratitude towards the government's effort to ferry maize to the region to mitigate hunger. In an interview, one of the residents says the public was in dire need of relief maize to ensure that hunger is actually alleviated in this area. They also say that this action really shows the government's dedication to combating drought-induced hunger within the country. Those are some of the two stories that were part of the bulletin as of yesterday. But Joe, I do understand that our guest is in, so we get to play those two stories so that our guest also gets to have time with us, with our viewers as well. And what we can tell our viewers, it is a second chance to ensure that we continue pushing those resolutions that we've set, and keep it on Camnet TV, your #1 community TV station in the country, as we get to provide you with nothing but the very best of content, so that you too can be part of making sure that those decisions reach the intended people. Okay.
Importation of power is currently a cushion solution, while we're just supposed to cushion or alleviate the pain that ordinary Zambians are faced with of 8 hours load shedding, because the country requires us to have energy in order to run our economy. So it's just supposed to be something that is going to help alleviate the pain, but it's not a lastful solution, because at the end of the day, our energy security is threatened. In case of anything like geopolitical wise, importing energy has got its own advantages and disadvantages, and it's got more on the disadvantage side, because it gives us, it compromises our sovereignty in terms of energy, because we are dependent on another nation to produce energy for us, which affects our energy security in the long run. So it's just supposed to be a cushion situation. The Kariba Dam at full capacity produces over 1,080 megawatts, but currently it's producing over 200 to 300 megawatts. So meaning that there's a deficiency of somewhere around 600 megawatts, and Zambia is only importing around 200 megawatts from Mozambique. So the Zambian government needs to increase that number to somewhere even 500 megawatts, which can help in the long run reduce the load shedding hours. As we wait to bank on the water in the Kariba Dam, we need to look at that as a solution, just to cushion the current situation. It's not a lasting solution, because it compromises.
As climate change continues to wreak havoc, drought has severely impacted farmers nationwide, leading to low yields. To address this challenge, the government has initiated a maize transportation program across the provinces to question hunger among citizens. Namakando Masie is Rimonga Council chairperson and also Western Province United Party for National Development Information Publicity Secretary.
The government was concerned about the drought situation, which is affecting almost everyone. Government assured its people that no one was going to die of hunger. This is what you see behind me here, station of that government promise, which was made publicly to the people of Zambia. And we appreciate the government of the day, led by His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Chilema, who has made it possible that this time around, this is May, we have enough maize which is being transported to Western Province, and the people of Rimolunga are assured to have access to this commodity which has been delivered.
In an interview with Camnet News in Mungu, Namakando assured that no one will die of hunger, and he has urged citizens across the country to support government his good policies.
Yes, for the entire province, we should support the good policies of government, especially the policies of UPND, because we've never seen this from time immemorial. This we have seen maize has been delivered on time, indicating that from May, I think, to the next harvest of 2024-2025 farming season, people will have enough food, will have enough meal, which they will be able to access at any time.
Meanwhile, some Mungu residents have expressed their gratitude toward the government's effort to mitigate the effect of drought and ensure food security.
Tala ya 2019 neli etuna kufita ye kono nokusina matrax ali chochwana mwa ulosi mbonyi lulika bungata miluna nisepo ya kuli babana ni mali haba na kutwa tala kupofya elukupa kubo president baluna batu babafike tuwanga mwali la ruza luna moza kuliba ngole mali ya kutusa babasinda na ya bulira fahani beleki anisika nyalwa nani bana balalu kono kuta na right yakona kufumanda kwa kuwola mashirenyi yao
twale fa lubona kuli bo president luli balulwanela akulwanisa ddala sinamubona kuli matracks amangata obatisize fa kimbonye then aba aigai wambonye ubwendi bupi mwa bulozi bukachipa kamba mwa mungu kachipa batu abana kutongoka katala yobasore kutongoka kanako kafera.
Museo Kabira, Camnet News in Mungu district of Western Province.
Okay, thank you so much for still joining us. Now that's a report coming all the way from, in fact we had two clips in there. The last clip is a report coming all the way from Barotseland, that's the western part of Zambia. And also engineer Zulu there talking about alternative sources of energy and urging stakeholders in the energy sector to take heed to his advice there. However, we do have our guest this particular morning as we delve into our main interview, and our guest this morning is Mr. Dennis Mutumba. He is a good governance advocate or expert. He is here with us. Mr. Mutumba, good to see you and welcome.
Thank you so much, Joe. And how are you with Camnet TV? And I'm together with my leader. It's a blessing to be with you. How are you?
Pleasure, very well. And hopefully you had a great weekend.
Thank you. And I'm also greeting the viewers out there. Good morning.
Okay. It's a lovely morning, obviously, Mr. Mutumba. However, let's go to Friday and see the events that took place. We saw the former head of state, 6th Republican president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, taking a walk in the CBD. Then later on that particular day, later in the evening, obviously, the police command issued a statement regarding that walk. As a governance expert, activist, advocate, bring us up to speed. How did you make of this particular walk of the former head of state in the Central Business District of Lusaka?
Thank you so much, Joe. I think the work of the former head of state in the streets of Lusaka, I think we need to digest, and also we can't give it a blind eye.
Okay.
We need to talk about it because we are dealing with a former head of state who just by surprise did walk in the streets. And you know, the masses that gathered to follow him chanting. To me, as an activist, I need to speak and say something on that situation.
Okay.
In the first place, the former head of state, democratically, he's got every right to go anywhere, provided for he's got security with his family. Of course, with a limited number, he can walk anywhere in any street, Cairo Road, Chachanja, Freedom, Rumumba, or in any compound. Now, the question is, I was trying to, to drag the clip to see whether there was security. I saw a number of security, but they distanced themselves from his walk. Now, I expected the reaction now from Zambia Police, maybe from security wings, from the IG, or maybe the command itself. Rumors popped on the social media that some officers were being suspended, but the reaction from the spokesperson, they did say that we never suspended anybody. Now, the president attracted a number of people. This is a great message. Let's be very truthful here.
Okay.
The joining of many people and the youths that joined the president, the former president, to walk in the streets is a message to the New Dawn government. But the New Dawn government, they're saying, this is the democracy that we want, to allow every person to do what he can, but that is not true. The truth is that up to now, they're working on, areas on how they will warn and caution the former head of state, if at all there is a provision to do so, because it was something that in fact shocked all of us. What am I saying? The former head of state is a lawyer. To me, what he did was not right. I think he was testing the UPND government on how they will react.
Okay.
Dragging such huge number in the street in that manner can create division in the country. And if he's not well, approached to be guided, that is a former head of state and he's a lawyer, he understands the constitution. Such gathering needs protection from the government, from security wings. Imagine if the UPND cadres reacted as we saw in the previous regime, where if the opposition can take that route of moving in that manner, meaning the cadres that are under the ruling government, they would react and there will be chaos. So to me, he's got a right to walk, but with protection, and he must be guided. But in the manner that he walked the street, quite all right, there was no violence, there was no one who was beaten. But next time, it must be well organized such that even the security wings must be there to provide the security to the former head of state. In case he's just walking and he's attracting a number of people. But in that manner, if at all the UPND cadres were not tamed, they will have reacted and it will have caused chaos. That is my view.
Okay. Sure. So, still on that one, Mr. Mutumba, the UPND are quoted in today's broadsheet, the Zambia Daily Mail, saying, don't use anarchy to return to power. UPND warns Lungu. How do you make of that warning, Mr. Mutumba?
I think the warning is timely.
Okay.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is that the former head of state must enjoy peace and relax and pave way for other leaders in the PF. Okay. It is his democratic right to choose a successor. But in the manner that he's trying to push the agenda of coming back in 2026, it's uncalled for. And at the moment, PF has issues because these two factions have not yet settled their matters. So now we don't know, is it Mao Sampa who is the president of the PF, or is it Edgar Chagwarungu who is the president of PF? This time around, these two factions must resolve their issues so that we know who carries leadership in the PF. At the moment, matters are still before the court.
Okay, Nelson?
Let's get to also now look at the country's economic performance. We've seen that recently there was a downgrade from the IMF, downgrading Zambia's economic projection growth for 2024 to 3.5%. That is against the much more projection by this administration that 2024 is going to be a better year to grow the economy by at least 5%. Now we've seen that this is happening, and currently there are a number of issues bordering on the country's economy. In your view, I know you look at issues of governance. What is your analysis, or what is the state of the country's economy at the moment?
The economy at the moment is not growing. I think the revelation by the IMF are facts, and we must all admit that if there is anyone who is feeling a pinch of stress under this economy, is a Zambian, because most Zambian citizens are not affording to survive. Why am I saying so is that the currency has lost value. Even when you have 100 kwacha today, you can't feed a family of 5. You can't even survive on a breakfast. So meaning, whatever has been assessed, looking at the economy, in Zambia, it's not growing. In fact, it's even degrading. That is the truth. So from the expert analysis, they are trying to tell us that there are no economic activities that are bringing the income. Okay, that makes it easy for a Zambian to to survive.
Where are we missing it, Mr.?
We are living in the stressive economy that is not stable.
Okay.
There are no economical activities that are generating income. The mining sector is slowing down, and we are not realizing anything from there. And when you look at the source of income of this government, we're in a situation where things are hard for the government to look at angles on how they are going to realize monies that will boost the economy. So the truth is that the economy itself, in general terms, to enable a Zambian who may not have an understanding, in economics, the truth is that an ordinary Zambian who do not understand economics finds it true that the economy is bad because, one, the source of income is very hard. There's no money in circulation. People are less paid, and the expenditure demands them to have more money, but they have less income. So that is how I can make it easy for everybody to understand.
Okay. So my question is, and it's going to sound off, but it needs to be asked. Are we ready for development as a country? Are we ready for economic emancipation as a country? I'm asking you this question, Mr. Mtumba. Yesterday, we were at Hero Stadium, and obviously you could tell the conduct of young people, young adults, and adult people to that particular infrastructure we call Hero Stadium yesterday. It left much to be desired. People were, the way they were conducting themselves. What am I trying to say? Look, Mr. Mtumba, my question is are Zambians, majority Zambians, ready for economic development? We saw, for instance, the vandalism that was taking place in broad daylight by some of our youths, our young, even adults at Hero Stadium. A good infrastructure, we are vandalizing it ourselves. Are we then ready for development? Can we say we are ready for development?
We cannot be ready for development under this situation.
Okay.
Because the economic instability has impact on the youths because they are majority people who are not working, who are trying to build another, situation where they come back as cadres. Now, when they boo the president in that manner, it's a message to the president, and the president should not be comforted. If there are people who are misleading that, things are okay, messages can be sent through certain actions. So that action, to me, tells the president that the youths at large are not happy.
It's not propaganda.
It's not a propaganda. Because, in some areas where the president has visited, there is that, support and welcome, but in an area like Lusaka, just even the walk of the former head of state in the street, it's a message. But of course, it's loved in some other areas because there are economic activities. In the Northwestern, I'll tell you, the more reason why he was welcomed in that manner. Northwestern is developing daily. Why? It's where the mines are and people are employed there. They're raising money every day to feed their families.
Okay.
But in the city like Lusaka, Copper Belt, people are really feeling it to survive today. It's even very hard for you to make a budget out of a 200 kwacha. If today I was to allow you gentlemen to say, let's make a budget out of the 1,500 kwacha for the whole month. It is the money that a minister who is praising that this government and the economy is stable, because then 1,000 is even less the allowance of their fuel per day or per week. You get the point. But a Zambian, a majority Zambian who works in the private sector, who is doing a business, they are only surviving on a 1,000 to 2,000. What can you do if you, maybe for example, pay rentals 500 kwacha on a one-room electrified house? You remain with 1,500 if you are married. You can't even take your wife for hairdressing. You can't even buy a shirt. You can't even buy jiggies for your children for the whole month. The money is very minimal. Now, if there are other people who are saying things are okay, I think they could be surviving from other sources that we don't know. But
Mr. Mtumba, just on that one, do you feel leaders sometimes are insulated from the realities on the ground?
that is the truth.
Okay.
That is the truth. Because in many cases, they're not always about it. If you're a supporter of a political party that is in government, all you do, you always justify things that other people feel they're not okay. You always find a way to explain that things are okay. The president did admit, if you follow him in his addresses, when he's addressing the nation, he really admitted that the situation economically is not okay. So there is nothing to say this government is doing well. Look at the information that is coming from IMF. The economic activities are very low. So meaning we're not doing well. Look at how kwacha is depreciating. It has come back to 27 point something According to experts,
5.9.
they are saying maybe in the few days from now it may hit 30. So when the dollar is getting more than a kwacha, meaning even essential commodities are getting more expensive, a bottle of cooking oil you are buying at 40 kwacha, it will very soon go at 60. Look at a 2 kg sugar, which was bought recently at 55. It is now hitting 75, close to 80. Is an ordinary Zambian going to manage?
Where are we missing it, Mr. Mtumba?
We are missing it because, you know, it is all about leadership. What is the leadership thinking about this economical situation in the country, and what is their projection in the near future? For example, if we were to give UPND a mandate to run again, what solution are they providing? The other challenge, Joe, is that the communication part by this ruling government, the so-called UPND, has poor communication from the government spokesperson himself, from the PS and directors that are supposed to disseminate information on the solution the government is going to provide to the Zambians. They're not doing so. They are so good communicating on the social media. But is every Zambian having access to the information they are disseminating? What plans does this government have going forward? Because the assurances are working against the current situation today. Whatever they assured the Zambians have not forgotten. When you promise somebody, people are very sensitive to promises.
Okay.
If you and me had a girlfriend, for example, before we got married, you assure a lady that I'm going to buy you an iPhone. It's something that this person will never forget. Equal to politics. When you say that maybe a bag of fertilizer will be at 50 kwacha, 250 by then, people are hoping to see, is it true that fertilizer will maintain a 250 kwacha per 50 kg bag? But today it is at 900, it is at 800. Where are those promises? We are almost going to another term where we are going to go for a general election.
Do you think sometimes politicians overpromise?
They do overpromise because they work so smart to encourage, you know, assurances, of which at the end of the day, when it comes to, you know, actualization of those assurances, it does not work. And the opposition is also taking advantage to indicate to them that people that assured you that they would do this, have they done it? What is the difference, you know, from the time that the previous regime governed and the current leadership and the way they are governing now? What is the difference? So people say, no, we are buying a bag of 25 kg meal meal at 157 kwacha, 150 kwacha. But today we are buying at 340. Maybe the cheapest would be 190 kwacha. Even when we say that we are still buying milling meal from, you know, Eagles Milling at 190 Lola meal, the cheapest, people still remember that the expensive milling meal, which was at 150, 160, today it has risen to 190, 230, 340. When are they going to bring the price down as they assured? What excuse are they giving? What explanation are they providing to those that were listening? They've not done so. It looks like, again, the president has remained alone to explain issues of economic activities and the plans the government has. But these that are surrounding him are unable to go back to their people because they are feeling shy.
Is this current team, and when I say current team, I mean the current administration, is this current administration and its current crop of policymakers, lawmakers, ministers, councillors, this team, the current administration, delivering to the expectations of the Zambian people, is it scoring to satisfy the needs of the Zambian people, according to you, Mr. Mtumba?
They've scored on CDF, they've scored on, you know, the increasing number of recruitment in teaching service, in military, and also maybe in a number of, you know, civil service positions. They've scored. We are not saying they've failed completely. There are certain, you know, things they've done which we should say kudos. For example, you know, one thing that we love is that the freedom that I'm discussing today, you know, trying to make checks and balances to the leadership today. I'm free, no one will come and attack me. That is the democracy that we want. You get the point. Today I will be able to say, UPND, this is not right, Mr. President, you are being misled. No one will come and arrest me. That is good governance. That is democracy we expect. That is human rights. When you talk of CDF, it surprised us from 1.6 million today, we have 30 million plus. which we expect people that are given a mandate to utilize that money, they must use it prudently, except for the reports that we are receiving that there is abuse of these funds. Local authorities are being, investigated for, misappropriation. So we hope that where the government has done well was to increase the allocation of CDF, and we hope that this CDF remains a game changer by bringing certain things that were not there, empowering the youth to go for skills. It is something that never happened in the previous government, but under UPND it happened. But they still have a lot to work on, especially where the economy, a good economy is where you are able to take your children to school, you are able to eat 3 times per day, you are able to have a standby money when you work. That is a good economy. It's not an economy where other people are putting full tank and electorates are unable, they are only putting fuel on a score, especially those that lives in the rural areas who are using motorbikes. They are not managing because fuel is very expensive. Now, when they are forcing to buy fuel, put maybe even a quarter tank, half tank, they are eating 3 times per day. You are able to take your children to school now that they opened last week. So now, when you are able to do certain things without stress, that is good economy. But if things are harder, you are unable to do so, meaning the economy is bad because you are not able to raise income in order for you to survive.
Okay. Mr. Mtumba, let's also look at, you brought out the issue of fuel increment. Let's also look at the happenings at the Energy Regulation Board. Government, through their spokesperson, Honorable Cornelius Mweto, who doubles as former Member of Parliament and also Chief Government spokesperson, says that government was not consulted when ERB was giving a go-ahead or permission to ZESCO to increase their tariffs, electricity tariffs. Mr. Mtumba.
That was a lapse. If government was not communicated to as per procedure, then those that did not would have just followed a laid down procedure to communicate for assessment to whatever ZESCO is supposed to do, to whatever ERB is supposed to do. Government must know. But if that did not happen, then it's a hiccup. They need to make sure that they remind those that are mandated to regulate, to provide a service on behalf of the government. They communicate to the government so the government is also aware. But if it never happened, I think this is where we see some of the people are being suspended. You get the point. So if the government spokesperson indicates that we were not consulted, then that was a violation of a provision to communicate to the government whenever they want to pass information to the government, to the people of Zambia, that there is an increment of tariff, there is an increment of fuel. They must work together because ZESCO, ERB, they are under government guideline, and so there must be no violation of those guidelines.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's also get to look at this issue. I know you did tackle the issue relating to communication with regards to the current administration. For instance, now let's go to the thick and thin of it. On 26th of December 2023, we did see former Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in Stanley Kakubo resign, and it's about 6 months or so that to this extent you've not seen a replacement in that ministry. What are some of the effects of not having a foreign affairs and international cooperations minister, given the fact that there's still a pool of people within the current administration that can actually be put on the ground to ensure that things
is Zambia short of manpower?
That's a message that in the UPN, not Zambia. Zambia may have people that have the capacity to serve in that ministerial position. But the president is simply telling us indirectly that there isn't anyone he can trust.
Capable enough?
Yeah, they may be capable if they were to be given an opportunity to serve, if they are appointed. But it is all about, confidence and trust in those that would serve in that capacity. Now, UPND should begin to get more worried that their president has simply noticed that the capacity of many members of the UPND cannot hold a certain position, because currently the justice minister is the one who is acting. Okay, so we are not short for a person in that ministerial position. So I would wish, you know, in my capacity as an advocate, as an activist, that let the president, maybe, if this man is the one who is acting as a Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jaime, why not put him there permanently and relieve him?
Surely it's been 6 months. Isn't that too long? Isn't that too long?
The first president ever in the continent of Africa and in the whole world that has, you know, maintained that position vacant through an acting minister. It has never happened. So it is up to the president at the right time to put somebody there permanently, or maybe do away with one ministry. But here is the issue. If the president is unable to replace Kakubo, and he has appointed justice minister to act, this minister is paid twice.
Okay.
Are you seeing the deeper thing about this? Because when you are acting by law, you get what a person you are acting for. There are certain incentives, there are certain allowances. Is it fair for the president to remain mute for all these months? Because if today one minister is fired or resigns, there must be an option within a period of maybe 3 months to qualify one person to fill up that position. So the president is simply trying to double empower a minister who is serving as a Minister of Justice and acting as a Foreign Affairs Minister. So this man is getting 2 salaries. He's not acting for free.
He's not acting for free, he's getting a salary. But then again, isn't it also overwhelming on his part, seeing that he is a member of parliament, parliamentary duties request him, or demand him to perform parliamentary duties, and also being Minister of Justice requires him to obviously execute
matters of legal, you know, services.
And now, also as Foreign Affairs Minister, isn't it too overwhelming on Honorable Mlambo Haimbe as well?
Comrades, let's be very fair here and let the president be very fair to the nation. And I think this is very worrying in the UPND government and also political party, because ministers now are asking themselves, they may not speak it out, because when you are appointed by the president, you speak less. Okay, and they support more. You get the point.
You speak less.
I want to tell you that currently even the party is worried. Members of the UPND are worried. They're asking themselves, are we not worthy? There could be those that have maybe studied, you know, diplomacy, you know, or diplomatic service. You get the point. The question would be, are we not worthy? What is the president trying to tell us? Because of course we cannot force him to come and tell us, to say the more reason why I've maintained this person to act is because of APC. It's within his principle that he finds a suitable person. But is it difficult for the president to find a suitable person in 3 months? Is it difficult? Because even when you're ushered into the government, you're only given a period of 1 month to ascertain who is capable to serve in this capacity, in that capacity.
And Mr. Mutumba, on that one again, political parties, when they're in opposition, they do have shadow ministers. So I'll be, for instance, chairman of information and publicity. You see, in opposition, Then obviously when a party forms government, those are the people that you automatically appoint. So why is it taking so long to have a replacement for the minister that resigned? Why is it seemingly taking so long? What is the message? Is the president sending a vote of no confidence in his lieutenants?
That is exactly number one, that there isn't anybody he can appoint to replace Kakubo, or he should bring back Kakubo. If he brings him back, people ask, are we not worthy? This is where now, you know, those that are surrounding you begin to mistrust you. I'm not inciting them to mistrust the president. I'm simply trying to tell them that he does not trust them. Okay, we have MPs because there is a limited number of those that he nominated.
Okay.
He cannot renominate to fix somebody to replace Kakubo in the portfolio of foreign affairs. But there are MPs. If he wants, according to what I know, even me, because there is no university to go and study presidency.
No, sir.
It is a leadership that you know you vie for, and when you go there, you have a free space to appoint and change positions and fix in people that you think this can deliver. UPND has members of parliament who have never been appointed. Is there any that can fit in that portfolio? Or maybe make transfers, one minister who is also capable of serving that portfolio can simply be transferred and appoint somebody who can qualify on that position that one is removed to come and fill in that position of foreign affairs. But as my brothers put it, this is about 6 months. What is the president telling us? It's not an insult to ask you, Mr. President, that please kindly quicken, to motivate your people that labored for 22 years.
Is this
Up
why
to now you cannot find somebody to fix in?
it's getting exciting now? Is this why we are seeing reduced enthusiasm from members of the UPND regarding how they participate in matters of governance? Is this why we're seeing reduced enthusiasm from members of the UPND? Because of things like taking long to appoint, for instance, a foreign affairs minister and other portfolios. Just recently, we read that a member of the UPND that vied for Matero, losing candidate for the Matero parliamentary election in 2021, has been appointed deputy diplomat. And this has been ongoing. It's a long process. People are appointed today, 6 months later, people are appointed. Is this why there is reduced enthusiasm within the file and rank of the UPND?
Yeah, people are being discouraged. They may not speak it on the public that we are not happy, but some of us who interact with senior most UPND people, even when we speak on their behalf, they would call you to say, young man, thank you so much, you've spoken the truth, you've spoken for us, because we can't speak, but right now, there are groups that are sitting, even MPs are also, digesting what could be the problem. You get the point. Now, I will tell you why the president finds it very difficult to appoint certain people to, to fill up positions in the diplomatic service, in foreign service. It's because a number of UPND members, to me, most of them were not learned. And the president assured the people that he's going to save this country on merit. He will appoint people on merit. Akari, ngatamukwete certificate ya grade 12 ngamaranda vatino bamutumba chiteniko connected to the leadership and therefore yakuya ku policy. Many people were being employed on favors but not on merit. And so the president did assure this nation that I'm going to engage people, inclusively also, that are capable.
But does
to
it mean that
capacities.
Zambia is short of learned people, even the UPND itself? When you look at the caliber of most of their MPs, are learned people, Mr. Mtumba, and this is a party that won with the majority vote. Surely, do you feel the best excuse is most people have got limited education?
What would make you, if you were a president, even him, if he was a president, this situation, the way you're asking, is the whole country or is the whole party having no one that is learned? Maybe even to be taken as a provincial minister, and get the provincial minister and put him in the foreign service position. The answer is not true. UPND people are capable. If there is no inclusive policy, UPND membership is capable.
So why are we not seeing this
The
happen?
president does not trust anybody. No wonder he has made it better for Haimbe to act and get 2 salaries.
But Nelson, how would you work with people you don't trust? And you are the leader. I'm trying to understand what you're saying, Mr. Mtumba. I'm a leader of a household as a husband and a father. Then I don't trust my wife and kids. I'm a leader, I'm a CEO of an institution. Then I don't trust the deputy CEO, I don't trust the management, I don't trust... Bring me up to speed, Mr. Mtumba. I know we need to throw in...
If we had more time, I would have referred you to, you know, in the book of Genesis, where Jacob has children. They come from different mothers, but he shows much love by sewing a cloth for Joseph, and this injured his brother. And that's where they began to plot, you know, against his life.
The coat of many colors.
Why him? So what the president is doing on this one, I know, let the president listen. I wish somebody would get this discussion this morning that, Mr. President, you're not fair. We're not saying you're not fair by not appointing. You're not fair by showing and allowing a minister who is a minister of justice to act in the capacity of a foreigner affairs position where a minister resigned. Where are you finding it difficult to appoint? So, he does not need you to be a political analyst or a good governance analyst. It is a simple message that the love is with Haimbe, and Haimbe is the only reliable, because Haimbe, whilst acting, is interacting with international, you know, communities on behalf of this government, meaning he's executing his duties very well and very professional. Why not bring Haimbe full-time and repress the Minister of Justice maybe with what? There are a lot of lawyers that are within the party of the UPND, because Justice Minister can only be saved with a person who has a legal mind, who understands the legal aspect. You get the point? If it is difficult for a foreign affairs minister, the same minister who is acting can be there full time and replace the Minister of Justice with a person that has a legal mind within the MPs. Because being a minister in a ministry, you know, it is very easy because you have a PS there. You can learn more. But we have so many lawyers in the UPND. The question is, what is UPND thinking? Are they going to clap again that the president has done well to allow the acting minister from Minister of Justice to act on Minister of Foreign Affairs? If they are clapping, then they could be foolish. It's not an insult to use the term foolish. It's a word that should make them begin to question themselves. Maybe they are not honest to the president. And the president has the right to do whatever he's doing, but we are worried as people that are following what is going on, why the minister is not yet appointed in full time.
Okay, let's get also to issues of development, as we've been talked much and on the appointment of a foreign affairs minister, but let's also get to look at the issue of, I know Shibuyunji is one district that is closer to your heart, and in the spirit of ensuring that development is taken in all areas, certain things have to be done right, and infrastructure is one of those key elements. How is the status in Shibuyunji, and what really has to change to ensure that even this particular group of people in Shibuyunji also begin to be part and parcel of the country's national development?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to advocate for development just in many other areas, or maybe as a country at large, I need also to advocate for development in my area where I come from. The greatest challenge that we have is the road, which we were assured, I think, a month plus that the road is about to be put in place, and it will commence in the next 4 months from now. Meaning, hopefully by August, we are expecting that we see the machinery on the site, and when the road is started, then we'll see more development, because it will attract a lot of people. Even you say, no, comrade, organize me a piece of land there, I want to come and build and stay, because the road network is excellent. But at the moment, it is a promise. We've seen assessment, you know, processes have begun, and we are hopeful that they can't just come and lie to us that we are commencing after 4-6 months. We are hopeful that the development is going to come, and our hope is this new dawn government. I'm now an ambassador of giving hope to the people of Shibuyunji and the Mwembeshi constituency that the road is going to come. But if it does not come, being a neutral person who does not support, you know, political parties, but I support good ideologies, if they bring the tarmac, a good road in Shibuyunji, Mwembeshi, then meaning I will need to praise the UPND government. Of course, I have every right to support a political party that I want. PF did not give us a road. If UPND give us a road, it is, you know, an achievement in terms of development because we have a lot of economical activities. Okay. So my prayer is that the office of the DC, the office of the MP, and all other leaders like the CC and the councillors, they must work in, you know, collectively to push that this road comes. We are seeing less development, but we are rich in mineral resources. We have the mine there that produces pyrite, and we have copper. One of my headmen, an old man who died sitting on top of the minerals without realizing that he was on the hill that had copper. When he died, they decorated his grave with copper. Where I stay right now, I'm not trying to say that my relative kills me. There is a sign of minerals just where I built the house. I have an investor who has a school there, the King's Mission School. Where she is, there are signs of copper. Now, if this area is supported in terms of development, I think it will also contribute to taxes because a lot of economic activities will contribute to the revenues of this country. So, for now, we are happy that UPND has allocated the 30 million under CDF where we are seeing a number of change, but it is still at 1%. We want to see more development because when development comes, many people will be able to live in because there will be a lot of economic activity.
Let's get to conclude in terms of development also from your perspective and our viewers out there that are watching us this morning. Is there hope that is remaining that at a particular time things are going to balance from your perspective as a governance or your governance lens? Do they provide that hope in case there's somebody who's watching us from Chawama, Kanyama, all these compounds, Kalingalinga, Kalikiliki, and they really want to be motivated.
They want to be assured.
They want to be assured, even as we get to kickstart a new week. Is there hope?
Do we see the light?
Hope is there. One thing I've understood, which is good for people that understand governance, is that the methods the UPND government is using is to create a base that will not maybe benefit you and me today, but that which will benefit the generation to come. Our leader is a principled leader. Of course, looking at the plans they have, which they are not communicating to people from Kanyama, Chawama, or maybe in Shangombo, the plans under the UPND government to bring a change that is permanent are there. But unfortunately, we cannot save money to build a better economy when people are dying. What the UPND government is doing, when you look at and understand their plan fully, you discover that their plan is to make sure that in the near future we have a better economy. But unfortunately, it's like you are trying to save money to build a house when children are feeling hungry. They may die. The question is, that house you're going to build in, who is going to stay there? So there is a way. I love it. When I came here, I was listening that the budget is being realigned because of the situation. You can't tell children that, no, I want to build you a house. I'm not going to buy a meal. I want to build you a house. I'm not going to make you eat 3 times a day. They may die. The house that you're going to build, who is going to stay there? So there is, when the situation comes, there is a way you can adjust to work on solving the problem that is currently affecting nearly everybody, including those that are in UPND and in opposition, and maybe general players and the citizens. We have hope, but there is a way you can handle plans for the future to solve the current situation, because in as much as the president has plans for the future, but the Zambians are struggling to survive. They may die before they reach the promised land of Canaan.
Dennis Mtumba was our guest this morning as we got to discuss all issues and national matters, and we did discuss a number of issues from the walk to the Central Business District of Lusaka by the former president. We also did look at the country's state of the economy, and then among other issues or issues relating to the fuel pump price, the country's political landscape as well, with regards to the reappointment of a former or a foreign affairs and international cooperation minister, and all those were issues that were part of this discussion, and we're pretty much sure that our viewers out there were
one thing we've forgotten. Mr. Mtumba is in blue. You look smart, sir, and thank you for coming. However, you remind me of 2 teams. Chelsea Football Club, the pride of London, and also Cabo Warriors. Cabo Warriors were playing Red Arrows yesterday, They lost, but let me make mention that there was good display of football, Mr. Mkumba.
I loved it.
From both
watched
teams.
it, yes.
You watched the match,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
From both teams, I think I'll be very disappointed if, for instance, not a minimum of 5 players are not called to the national team. In that, there was good display of football. We do have talent in Zambia, Mr. Mtumba. Congratulations to Red Arrows and tough luck to the boys in blue, Cabo Warriors. They put up a splendid fight yesterday, but you know how it is. If it's not your day, it's not your day. So we concede defeat, sir.
That is Joe for you, and taking us all back to the world of football. But please, I hope you did enjoy the transmission, and be rest assured to have an exciting new week as Joe Clavelo Simata gets to join you back again this afternoon in the lunchtime cafe. And do look forward in terms of what exactly is packed for you, because I know he's got a lot that has to be unpacked. And thank you so much from Joe and myself, as well as our guest, Mr. Mutumba, who was joining us this morning. It's bye for now. Have an interesting weekend. Keep it on Camnet. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.